Hello and welcome to this Powtoon I created for Chapter 8, the Stage Model of Cognitive and Moral Development, John Piaget and Lawrence Kohlberg, by myself, Brandon Guzman. I will be covering this chapter with you all to help give you an overview. So what is cognitive moral development? To me, when I hear that, it's how our brain is able to process right from wrong to include thinking and action. This starts when we are children, all throughout our life. Two main psychologists that go deep into cognitive and moral development are Jean Piaget and Lawrence Kohlberg, to which I will go over in this discussion to include the principles of right and wrong behavior and the goodness and badness of human character. Jean Piaget is a Swiss clinical psychologist who considered children ages 2 to 5 to be pre-moral, meaning at that age they cannot determine what is right and wrong. They do not perceive the need for any kind of rules or structure. Most children got aware with bad behavior at that time because we as adults understand children. Of course, we're not capable of understanding right from wrong. Jean Piaget usually primarily two methods to develop his ideas of moral development. The first was that younger children think of situations in an easier way or less complex than older children. So basically, younger children think differently than older children. When I say older, it's typically children over the age of 10. Jean Piaget used an example of broken teacups to illustrate children's cognitive behavior. The first was having a boy walk with 15 teacups on a tray only to drop them all and break all at once. The second was having a boy being told not to climb on top of the counter to get off-limit cookies, but he accidentally gets up there and breaks a cup while climbing down the counter. Piaget used this example with 5 to 10-year-olds and asked which was the naughtier. Most children said the first boy who broke the 15 cups to be the naughtiest. Well, you might be thinking why. According to Piaget, children associated breaking all the cups at once to be the worst of the problem. This was based off the amount of damage and not the intention of the child. Also, the children based the decision off of how much trouble they would have gotten into considering all 15 cups broke instead of just one. Gotten in trouble with their parents or whoever was watching them at that time. The older children thought otherwise, as the intent of the child to purposely disobey in order to be much more worse than accidentally dropping 15 cups. This decision was based from 10 to 15-year-old children. Purposely disobeying, not to climb that counter to get that cookie. Children 10 to 14 thought that was way worse than just dropping the 15 at once. Okay, so the next psychologist is Lawrence Kohlberg, who expanded on Piaget's theories. Dr. Kohlberg is an American psychologist who was influenced by Piaget and is considered more complete in terms of his theories. Kohlberg also thought that as an individual developed morally, they consciously choose to discard certain moral principles that they learned in the past. Dr. Kohlberg focused on cognitive aspects such as interpreting, reasoning, judging, and making logical comparisons. Kohlberg studied young children and was interested in reasoning or cognitive aspects and not in the emotional or behavioral aspects. He was simply studying their reasoning on why they did things or did the things that they did. So Dr. Kohlberg has 6 stages of cognitive moral reasoning, which is composed of 3 levels and 6 stages respectively. So the level 1 is pre-conventional, early childhood, or early school age. Basically, behaviors are considered good if they result in reward, but if behaviors lead to punishment, they are considered bad. The next one is stage 1, pre-conventional orientation. So children view morality as outside themselves. So this means the result of being punished or rewarded. So children are very obedient versus punishment oriented. Rules are fixed and of course they cannot be changed at this stage. So stage 2, instrumental purpose orientation. The child satisfies personal needs when making moral choices and assumes that everyone else acts out of self-interest. Basically, I'll do this for you if you do this for me type of behavior. The next is level 2, conventional, late middle childhood. This is up until age 13. So at this point, children seek to avoid guilt and try to maintain the affection and approval of friends and family. This meaning that they just have a very strong bond with important individuals, whether it's their parents, their brother, their sister. This is just seeking the approval of family and friends. The next is stage 3, the good boy, good girl orientation, as it's called. So this means that children understand that good behavior also involves good intentions. Stage 4, the next one, law and order orientation. Children obey rules for their own sake. This law and order thinking and reasoning continues to develop until past age 13. The child reasons that everyone has a duty to follow rules and uphold the law. Basically kind of policing each other, holding each other accountable. At this stage, Dr. Kohlberg responds to Dr. Piaget's formal operational stage. Dr. Kohlberg found that most boys were at stage 4 at this point. The next is level 3, post-conventional morality, late adolescence until early adulthood. At this point, folks begin to define morality in more abstract terms and support values that apply to all humans. So people do not obey the law because they are required to, but because they want to. So they want to obey the law. Stage 5, the social contract orientation. At this stage, people see rules and laws exist to serve humans' purposes and are therefore flexible and subject to change. So of course at this point, rules are based on the need to protect the rights of individuals and the needs of the majority. So laws exist just to serve human purposes, and they're always there and adapting and changing. This next stage is stage 6, universal ethic principle orientation. So this is very rare. This is, according to Dr. Piaget, very difficult and super rare to achieve. Principles that serve all humanity are the guiding force for this stage. And of course, most people do not get to this stage or past stage 5 in their life. So those are the 6 stages of Dr. Kohlberg's cognitive moral reasoning. So I want to talk to you about a moral dilemma called Heinz Steals a Drug, which I'll get into here in a little bit, that goes over his 6 stages of theory. Of course, this next slide is the visual to see the levels and what we just went over, and the stages interact with each other. So this next exercise is to go over a moral dilemma of Dr. Kohlberg's theory. To summarize, the situation is having a sick woman who has a rare form of cancer in which the local doctor has created a special pill that can save the woman. The special pill costs way too much for the husband and will do anything to save his wife. He even offers to pay in payments, but the doctor refuses and wants to make money off his special pill, which is understandable. The doctor is just trying to make money. The husband, which is Heinz, gets so desperate to save his wife that he breaks into the doctor's office and steals the pill. Do you think the husband should have done that? What do you think? How does this dilemma apply to Dr. Kohlberg's theory? Can you use one of the stages as an example of why it was justifiable to steal this pill to save his wife? So in closing, here are some of the key takeaways from this chapter. Some of the evaluations of Dr. Kohlberg is that he is too elite and that his theory does not apply to the average person or child. Some of his theories are centered only around boys or men, which typically is what he studied or who he studied. His theories, of course, don't necessarily apply to the rest of the world. Some of the stuff to think about here is, how do these theories apply to individuals with disabilities and their chronic lifelong conditions? Some current moral dilemmas that pertain to disability is if society should be paying the brunt of the cost to educate a child with a disability when we have our current issues with public school finance. Some of the other stuff is, what about a fetus with severe disabilities? Should that fetus be allowed to be born? What do you think? These are some of the current dilemmas we face today, and we must be aware and ready to act if needed going forward. So thank you so much. This concludes my chapter of the stage model of cognitive moral development by Dr. Jean Piaget and Dr. Lawrence Kohlberg. It's a quick overview. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much.